Imagine standing at the edge of a laboratory where time itself seems to bend. Rows of freezers hum quietly, their interiors holding vials of genetic fragments older than cities, older than writing, older even than the pyramids. Within those fragments are whispers from creatures that walked, swam, or crawled through worlds unrecognizable to us. Some of these creatures vanished millions of years ago. Some lived in ages before mammals rose, before flowering plants spread across continents. The question hums as steadily as the freezers themselves. Could we bring them back? Could we resurrect Earth's oldest animals? The idea seems like it belongs to myths, a modern echo of tales where long-dead giants wake again. Yet the pursuit is grounded not in fantasy but in the precise work of molecular biology, paleontology, and genetics. The first obstacle is memory. DNA is not a permanent record etched in stone. It decays, breaking apart after death. Heat, moisture, radiation, and time all conspire to scramble the code. Even under the best conditions, fragments are what remain. Amber entombs insects, ice entombs mammoths, tar preserves bones, but the blueprint fades. Scientists can sometimes stitch together the fragments, like assembling a manuscript torn and scattered. The smaller the fragments, the harder the task. With animals that vanished tens of thousands of years ago, it is difficult but not impossible. With animals millions of years gone, it is closer to impossible, though possibility itself is a shifting horizon in science. One of the most famous test cases is the woolly mammoth. For over a century, frozen bodies of these Ice Age elephants have thawed from Siberian permafrost, their skin, hair, and muscle still intact enough to cut with a knife. From these tissues, DNA can sometimes be coaxed out. Not perfect, not whole, but enough to map where it differs from its closest living relatives, the Asian elephants. Researchers imagine reintroducing mammoth traits into elephant cells, producing embryos that carry the code for long hair, fat layers, and adaptations for cold. The goal is not to revive a single individual, but to resurrect traits, to restore an ecosystem function. Mammoths once shaped tundra landscapes, knocking down trees and trampling snow. A herd of them might slow the thaw of permafrost by turning forests back to grasslands. The dream is resurrection as restoration, life as climate engineering. But with every step come questions. What does it mean to create a proxy mammoth? Would such animals live freely or behind fences? Who decides if they should exist at all? Beyond the mammoth lies the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger. Extinct since the 20th century, its loss is a wound still raw because it was driven by human persecution. Here, too, DNA fragments survive in preserved specimens. Unlike mammoths, the timescale is short. 100 years is a blink, and the genetic material is fresher. Several groups are working to piece the genome together, to place thylacine genes into marsupial surrogates. The ethical case is different from the mammoth. This is not about rewinding deep time, but repairing a mistake. Could returning a predator to Tasmania rebalance ecosystems that changed after its disappearance, or would it create new conflicts with people and livestock? Each species carries not just scientific puzzles, but moral weight. The more distant we look, the harder the puzzle becomes. Dinosaurs fire imaginations most, yet their DNA is gone, erased by tens of millions of years. What lingers in fossils are not codes, but impressions. Proteins, pigments, sometimes chemical traces of blood vessels. Enough to say what color feathers once were, but not enough to build a genome. Some scientists have turned the question sideways. If we cannot pull DNA from stone, could we edit the DNA of living descendants? Birds are dinosaurs in miniature, their genes carrying echoes of their ancestors. By switching certain genes on or off, by nudging embryonic development, researchers have already produced chickens with snout-like faces or longer tails in controlled experiments. These are not dinosaurs resurrected, but they are glimpses, reverse-engineered traits whispering back from deep time. Here, the ethical debates sharpen. At what point does an experiment cross from study to creation? At what point is curiosity, cruelty? There are also creatures that blur the boundaries between resurrection and endurance. Horseshoe crabs have scuttled across beaches for nearly 500 million years with little change. Nautiluses drift with shells that look the same as their fossil kin. Crocodiles, coelacanths, and lungfish all remind us that some ancient lineages never vanished, they simply endured. To see them is to see living time capsules, proof that not all doors close. In some cases, Bringing back Earth's oldest animals does not require resurrection, only protection. The task is not to reassemble their genomes, but to safeguard their habitats so that ancient continuity does not snap now. Even microbes weigh into the story. From salt crystals and deep ice cores, scientists have revived bacteria that lay dormant for hundreds of thousands of years. Spores survive better than flesh. They wait, patient beyond imagination, and sometimes when given light and warmth again, they stir. To resurrect a bacterium is less dramatic than raising a mammoth, but it teaches something about persistence. It shows that life can fold itself small and hide in geology's pockets, waiting for a chance. The line between extinction and survival is not always bright. The scientific challenges are immense. DNA recovery, genome assembly, cell culture, embryology, each step is fragile, full of error and uncertainty. Even if the code is read correctly, even if it is placed into a living cell, development is complex. Genes do not simply build an animal. They interact with environments, with mothers, with ecosystems. A genome without the right context may falter. A mammoth embryo needs an elephant womb. A thylacine embryo would need a marsupial surrogate. A bird embryo manipulated to look more ancient still grows within a modern bird's egg. The technical barriers are matched by ecological ones. What landscapes could hold such creatures today? Would mammoths trample fragile tundra plants or help them? Would thylacines find prey or find themselves competing with foxes and cats? Resurrecting a body is not the same as resurrecting a world. Then come the ethical questions, and they are as large as the animals themselves. Should we do it? Does humanity have the right to bring back what time and fate erased? In cases like the thylacine, extinction was caused by human action. Some argue we have a duty to repair it. In cases like the mammoth, extinction came from climate and hunting combined. Would resurrection honor them or exploit them? Would a herd of recreated mammoths be individuals with needs and feelings, or would they be tools in a climate experiment? Who would care for them? Who would decide their fate? These are not questions with easy answers, but they are questions that must be asked before any birth. There is also the matter of resources. De-extinction is expensive. Genomics, cloning, husbandry, habitat management. Each dollar spent here is a dollar not spent on saving species alive today. Hinus teeter, amphibians vanish, forests shrink. Should resources go to the past or the present? Advocates reply that the technologies developed for resurrection can aid conservation. Techniques for cloning cells can preserve endangered genomes. Insights into ancient adaptation can help engineer resilience. The line between saving what is and reviving what was is not as sharp as it first seems. Perhaps the most profound reason to attempt resurrection lies in perspective. To bring back even fragments of Earth's oldest animals is to collapse time. It is to stand in a meadow and watch a creature step from memory into presence. It changes how we see our role. For most of history, humans have been shaped by the lives around us. Only now do we shape them deliberately. The power is immense, and so is the responsibility. Resurrection is not only about animals. It is about what kind of species we choose to be. Consider the alternative futures. In one, we let the past rest. Fossils remain stone, museums hold echoes. We study, we wonder, we protect the living. In another, we push forward, and tundra shakes under heavy steps again, and night forests echo with forgotten cries. Both futures are possible. Both carry risks and promises. Neither is guaranteed. What unites them is choice. Humanity now holds the tools to reach into time's vault. Whether we unlock it is up to us. The most haunting truth is that extinction is final unless we intervene. For 99% of species that ever lived, the story has closed. Their roles in ecosystems are empty. Their voices are silent. To resurrect is to blur that finality, to write an epilogue. The ink is fragile, the words uncertain, but the attempt is profound. It asks us not only what science can do, but what humanity should do. As the freezers hum and the vials rest in their cold, the question lingers. Could we resurrect Earth's oldest animals? Perhaps. The science edges forward piece by piece, code by code. Should we? That answer depends not only on what is possible, but on what we value. The journey through time is not just backward, it is forward, into futures shaped by our choices. We stand at the threshold, listening to echoes, deciding which will remain echoes and which, perhaps, will breathe again.